My name is James Studley here at Full Potential Learning Academy. Today we'll be going over pronoun cases and how certain pronouns go into certain categories and how identifying both helps us understand pronouns a lot more. Today we'll be going over what pronoun cases are and the certain types of common cases we can understand, such as subjective pronouns, objective pronouns, possessive pronouns, reflexive pronouns as well, and some final practice to help you master what you have learned here today. Pronoun cases are the categories in which a pronoun can fit into. Here are some common pronoun cases that we go over generally. We have subjective pronoun cases, such as I, you, he, she, we, they, etc. Objective pronoun cases, me, you, him, her, them, whom, etc. Possessive pronoun cases, mine/my, her/hers, their/theirs, whose, etc. And reflexive, myself, yourself, himself, herself, themselves, etc. By understanding these cases and what makes them so unique, we understand pronouns more in general and why they're important. Subjective pronouns are used only as subjects of verbs or as predicative nominatives. Predicative nominatives are essentially an extended clause of a pronoun to ensure the completion of the sentence. In one example, we have the subject of the real verb. Jenna and I were the only two at the meeting. I is in place of a proper noun, so we know that the pronoun is in place of a name. So it's Jenna and I were the only two at the meeting, and that is the subject of the real verb. We also have the subject of the implied verb. My brother is taller than I. You can finish the sentence as I am, but we don't need to. So we simply just have I as the pronoun to finish the sentence. Whenever you have a predicative nominative as well, you also need to have it linked by a subjective case. In the sentence below, we see it in full action. Matthew, the subject, is connected by the verb is with the predicative nominative of the new captain of the team. Matthew is the new captain of the team. And that's how you use a predicative nominative in a sentence. And that's how you use subjective pronouns overall in those pronoun cases. Objective pronouns are used as objects of verbs or as objects of preposition. When deciding the right case for objective pronouns, consider the verb that's being used. For example, my father struggled to raise my brother and me. Me is the best choice here as it's combined with brother to focus on the verb struggle. Object of preposition sentence, we have, this should be a great opportunity for you and her. Her is used along with you, and we see that the pronouns themselves are objective of the opportunity. By understanding objective pronouns, we understand the verbs a little better and can make better choices when picking the best pronoun. Possessive pronouns are pronouns that assign attribution or ownership to a subject. Bear in mind to use the possessive case of a pronoun and not the adjective case before it should run, and that could lead to a confusing statement, as shown below. I resent you taking the car without asking is wrong when you should say, I resent your taking the car without asking. The you in question is not being resented, but the action of taking the car is being resented, and it's their action, so it must be your. By understanding possessive pronouns, we understand attribution and ownership in a sentence and can easily assign the verbs to who is doing what in a sentence. Reflexive case pronouns are pronouns used to reflect upon the subject or to emphasize a noun or pronoun. They can be used in one or two ways. Subject and object are the same. I pinched myself to make sure I wasn't dreaming. Myself is the same subject as I. Or it's used to emphasize a noun or pronoun. I, myself, would never say such a thing. The myself this time being used to emphasize that I would never do a thing. Never use a reflexive pronoun over an adjective pronoun. In doing so, we make mistakes and can lower our score in tests. We can see this in the example below. The crowd applauded Carl and myself. Carl and myself is wrong because myself isn't really reflective because the crowd is not the same as myself. The crowd applauded Carl and me is better because as the crowd is the subject, Carl and me is being applauded by the crowd. So we see that me and the crowd are distinct. By focusing on reflective cases, we understand exactly who is being talked about when the subject is talking about itself. Here is some practice for the pronoun cases lecture we have been going over thus far. Simply pick the best pronoun to choose to end or begin or complete the sentence overall. Don't worry if you mess up, just simply go over the answers after the pause in this video. Feel free to pause the video now to try them out. Good luck! Here are the answers to previous pronoun-based questions from before. The university presented the honor to David and him. This is correct because it is an object of preposition, which is useful in this sentence. Second sentence, you must choose we, not us, so that way we is the subject over the issue that is debated by the other members. Number 3, him and me is the correct usage and thus the better choice because it is also an object of preposition. Finally, no other runner could outrun me is the object of the verb. Me is the best choice in this scenario. Hopefully you've done well, but if in case you didn't, that's fine. Simply practice on your own in other scenarios you might see. By understanding the pronoun case, we see which pronouns work in their best scenarios and ultimately can improve on both writing and on tests in the future. Our next lesson will cover dangling and misplaced participles in grammar. Thank you for watching. Teach you next time. This lesson was brought to you by the McGraw-Hill SAC Guide, Chapter 15, Lesson 6, Pronoun Cases.